Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I'm a master manifester. And guess what? You are too. The name of this channel is Holistic Manifesting because I believe in the whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives we're choosing, right? What I'm discussing today is a thought that came to me when I was like halfway asleep, and I turned over and picked up my little journal. And I was like, let me write this down because I always think I'm going to remember, and I do not. So I wrote it down, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a few days now. Some challenges arise to reactivate something inside of us, right? So one of the biggest issues that people have when it comes to ascending and growing and being awakened is kind of like all the contrasts you get, all the negative feedback you might get from the world, all of the changes and all of the people dropping in, dropping out. It's like it's a lot. And for a lot of people, that can be overwhelming. And so you'll hear people say the contrast is good for you. It can be, or it can beat you all the way down into the ground, but that's not what you want. But I mean, it has the ability to do that. But is contrast really something that's good for us, right? And it goes in line with everything that's good for you doesn't always feel good to you. Like your feelings can be taken off the table, but what is happening right now is in perfect order, it's perfect outcome for where you are headed, where you're trying to go. And because there are so many infinite possibilities around us all the time, it's hard to know what areas are working for us, what's working against us. And so what I see is a lot of people split on, is this a person I should keep around? Is this an environment I should stay in? And it's mostly centered around how much of this is contrast that is good for me, and then how much of this is showing me where I need to enact my boundaries and make a decision, you know? Sometimes we have huge talents, huge skill sets, and we might find ourselves doing work or working with other people or doing what we call our purpose in life. And we're not using any of those aspects of who we are. Somehow along the way, we've been beat down into thinking that it wasn't useful or wasn't valuable, right? And then we get in a situation where someone comes and they like treats us the way that we feel. So they treat you with the same value that you feel for yourself. And so then we're like, hey, no, I can do this. I am this type of person. I am valuable, blah, blah, blah. And in that process, you begin to reawaken those things inside of you that were lying dormant and that are ready to be used. Sometimes we let our life circumstances get so deeply embedded and get so far away from us that the things that we truly love to do and what we truly enjoy, they all go on the back burner. And then you meet someone and you say, oh, guess what? This is an example. Guess what? I write books, right? And you're just thinking it's a cute anecdote, right? It's like, you should read something that I wrote and just tell me what you think, right? And the person completely rejects it and also acts like it's not even important. What happens in that situation is that you can take that contrast and say, well, then it must be true. I must be a terrible author. Me writing these books must not mean anything. Me, expressing myself and being in my purpose and enjoying it means nothing. I may as well just put it on the back, because if this person is around me and they say they care about me and they love me and they say it's not worth reading and being involved in, I may as well believe it. That's where a lot of people go, right? That's where a lot of people's dreams and talents and skill sets go to die. Or when those situations approach us, we can say, I know that I'm an excellent writer. Same example. I know that I'm able to make things that are only nuanced ideas into stories, and I can put them into words, and I can create scenery, and I can create whole new worlds by sitting there using my pen or by sitting there on my computer, right? And you say, you know what? I'm reawakened there, because there's no way that talent that I love so much and that purpose that's so important to me is supposed to be sitting on the back burner. What happens in this situation, so this particular, example, you decide, well, I'm not going to be defeated. I'm going to start going after this thing. I'm going to start putting this in the front again. I'm going to start writing again. I'm going to start creating these projects. I'm going to start collaborating. The person that was around, either they're going to go with you or they're going to flounder. And a lot of times they flounder because they knew what they were trying to do. They were trying to manipulate you out of your talents and seeing who you really were. And when that didn't happen, they have to find another reason to make you a bad person. And so usually they'll disconnect, they'll walk away from you in life. I've had that happen in many things where someone was telling me that what I was doing wasn't useful, what I was doing wasn't valuable. And I was like, okay, quietly accepting it. And then just still doing my thing behind doors. I could have went away and was like, I'm defeated. Let me just put this thing on the back burner because it must be true. But most of the time I went forward. I was like, nah, this is something that I believe in. This is something that I know is special. This is something that I know the world is going to enjoy, right? They can't handle the fact that they knew they were wrong. Matter of fact, they weren't even wrong about you. They know your value. They know what your talent and skill sets are. But they can't handle you essentially finding the beauty in the situation as opposed to allowing the negativity to get the best of you. Because a lot of people think that if they're negative towards you, if they show you that you have no value, if they show you that your talents and skill sets mean nothing, then eventually you'll believe it too. And this will somehow humble you out of, utilizing the best version of who you are, right? And it has nothing to do with you and what you have to offer. And that's another thing I want to tell people. Don't take it personal. Most of the time you run into people who act like this or situations that bring on this strong contrast. And if you don't just allow it to be a tool that wakens you up and say, hey, nah, I got this thing and I'm gonna go ahead and do this and I'm gonna move in silence. If you allow it to be something that kind of breaks you down and bring you down, people are happy with that. That is what the common response you expect. Oh, and I was saying don't take it personal because it's a pattern in their behavior. And a lot of times people can't see their patterns because they're so busy trying to appear to be something else other than what they truly are. But if you're a person that kind of is an observer and you can look it from the outside looking in and you go, now, what did he say to the other person? What did she say to the other person? It's the same thing they said to me. It's the same approach they're taking with me. And then you start to see patterns in negative behavior. And then not only does it help with, my lighting got in the way. Not only does it help with you reestablishing those great things about you that you know exist, it also helps you understand that when the contrast comes at you, you don't have to succumb to it. You don't have to be a person that believes what another person is saying. I think that we spend so much time, so much wasted time being caught up on the opinions of others. And there's twofold issues with that. And this probably should be another video, but I'll just tack this on to this before I go. You're going to lose a lot of people because the number one thing people like you to do is to indulge them in their misery as opposed to finding a solution to get out of whatever they're talking about. So in that process, when you're this person that constantly is looking for what's the growth, what's the better, what's the positive thing to come out of this? Yes, it sucks, but what can I do from here? You're going to find that you run into a lot of people who don't see it that way. And when you don't care what they think about what you're doing, when you don't care what they think about what you're wearing, how you look and all that, they feel like you don't care about them because many of us only understand connections and trauma bonds. So we feel like if I'm giving you advice and I'm telling you something and I'm saying, I don't like this or I don't like that, and you go, okay, I see your dislike for what I'm doing and I shall do it anyway. That's generally how you got to move when it comes to operating in your purpose, right? And I don't believe this is gendered. I think that is a low level way of thinking, to think all the time that many of these human circumstances can be separated by gender or race and all these sort of things. There are some things that are just innate to human nature. Everybody wants purpose, man or woman. Everybody wants to be effective positively in their environments, man or woman. Everybody wants to have a beautiful, good life, positive life, man or woman. Everybody wants to conquer the negative areas inside of themselves and actually see them for what they are, man or woman. Everybody wants to be operating at the best version of who they are, man or woman. So when it comes to some of these things, I think we put too much emphasis on the little nuance here, the nuance there, the little nuance here, when really it does not matter. When you are faced with things like contrast and you see the situation unfolding in front of you and it doesn't resonate or align with you, that's when you have a decision to say, I'm going to line up with this negativity and then I'll be content over there until the next issue comes up. or I'm going to line up with what I know is the creator's goal for all of humanity. I'm going to line up with those things. I'm going to be the beacon of light instead. And the people that were trying to get you to stop accomplishing things, or to stop being the best version of you, or to stop looking, for the best versions of everybody, or whatever it is that you do, they're going to eventually fall off. And it won't be anything you can do they're going to self-destruct. I've seen it happen many, many times. They're going to self-destruct and somehow eventually blame you for whatever is happening. I was telling that to my daughter about, just contrast in life. And she was dealing with an issue where someone told her that she was inconsiderate because she was in a mode to where she didn't feel like talking one day at school. Just one day. Just actually 15 minutes after a game or a practice. 15 minutes. They said she was being inconsiderate because she wasn't talking. She wasn't in a mood to talk. And I was like, people like that are dangerous. They're dangerous because not in one moment did they ever consider you. Did they ever consider, are you having a bad day? Did you find out something that was awful today? Did you get a phone call and one of your grandparents passed away? Did you have a rough time in your last period? Did you get some news that you didn't want to hear? The first thing they go to is what you are not doing for them, right? And so I said, because I'm introverted, the way that I operate works really well for me because I can be very selective and I'm perfectly okay with that. But I'm like, you're very extroverted. So what you need to understand is that people are going to try to give you their issues. That is how people operate. And if you are not willing to absorb their energy and their issues, they're going to think that you don't care. If they can't trauma bond with you, they're going to think that you don't care. So when you get these negative situations or these negative interactions with people and places and environments, that is a perfect opportunity for you to re-solidify the things that are beautiful about you and what you know they are, right? It's a perfect opportunity to re-solidify those talents and those skill sets and drag that stuff back that you put on the back burner because you thought nobody cared, and then touch it again. And then go ahead and, revitalize it, put it back out there, share it with the world just one more time, right? So anyway, that's all I have to share. Whenever we are facing that contrast, we just have to understand that it is there to make us grow. It's not there to break us down. Unfortunately, it does break us down a lot. But generally, if you are on a path to ascension, it's going to break you down and then it's going to build you up. So a lot of times when people come and meet you with manipulation or negativity or this mindset, they just don't understand. It's like, I'm not the average Joe. I don't just succumb to other people like that. I'm not going to let you make me think that I'm a bad or awful person. That's just not how I operate. But I will say, to give them credit, it normally works with everyone. It normally works. So it's not their fault. They just hadn't come into a person where it's like, I see your contrast. I see what you're saying. And I'm going to go ahead and raise you some emotional maturity, some emotional intelligence, because I got tons of it, right? And so sometimes you just got to know that not everybody's going to see that. They're not a good read of people because they're too busy having an agenda and being manipulative. And then once you realize, wow, this person almost manipulated me out of my dreams. It happens that easily. That easily. One person can say, I don't think you're talented, and people will quit. They will stop. They will put those things on the back burner, and they have a beautiful singing voice, and we only hear them sing at people's funerals. And we're like, oh yeah, so-and-so can sing. I remember that. She was supposed to be on stages sharing her gift with the world, but she got married young, and this one little husband that she had was like, you're not talented, you don't have anything, and she believed it and just started making babies, and then that was her life. I'm sorry, it's not that appealing to a lot of people. And so this can go either way. I'm just talking from experience with a lot of things, but it's just true. It's like you can't let people talk negatively and speak death into your life. You have to take those instances and build on them. Be like, nah, I'm going to cover this with some dirt, and I'm going to put some seeds, and I'm going to grow some roses on top of this nonsense. And because most contrast is really just bullshit, it makes excellent fertilizer for a beautiful blossoming life. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.